All right, new markets out in the National Football League early in the offseason. We have seen the Super Bowl prices. We have seen conference championship odds, and now divisional numbers as well. Let's start in the AFC. 3 of our 4 divisions, a minus money favorite. The Buffalo Bills have won the AFC East 5 consecutive years. That minus 220 price, probably justified. We know the AFC North is darn good. Minus 140 number, though, in favor of the Ravens, who have won this division now 2 consecutive campaigns. The AFC South, intriguing. The Texans have won this division 2 straight years at plus 140. But the AFC West might even be more enticing. The Chiefs an odds-on favorite at minus 150. But Kansas City has won the AFC West 9 straight NFL seasons. And yet the odds makers who priced KC around a minus 250 price last offseason might just believe, Donnie, that the Chargers, the Broncos, playoff teams from a year ago could give KC a run for that top spot in the division.
Oh, they'll give them a run, which means that they'll play KC and somehow like a missed field goal or a late fumble or a ridiculous call happen and the Chiefs will end up winning that division. Andy Reid going to be, look, let's go back to last year, Ben, same shows. Andy Reid going to be there? All right. Mahomes going to be there? Okay, they win that division. Now, last year I was using it as a Super Bowl, and heaven forbid my Eagles ended up beating them, but they still got to the Super Bowl. Same premise, run it back for 2025. Looking at the other teams, the Buffalo Bills, rightfully so, should be the favorite. Love that team. Some turmoil and some other teams in that division, they should handle it. You take a look quickly at the Baltimore Ravens, they should be there. The Texans, yes, and the Chiefs. No arguments there, but there is one price point here that we'll go over after the break where I think this team is underpriced right now. Not to actually I think they're going to win the division, but I think the price point is misplaced there where you might be able to make some money if things go correctly here.
Divisional numbers around the National Football League. Next. New prices out around the National Football League early in the offseason. We have seen Super Bowl 60 odds for quite some time. Conference championship numbers as well. Let's talk those divisional favorites around the National Football League. We start in the AFC. Once again, the Bills, a hefty favorite. The strongest of all of our favorites in this conference, minus 220 to win the AFC East. The Ravens, minus 140 to win the AFC North. The Texans, plus 140 to win the AFC South. And the Kansas City Chiefs at minus 150 to win the AFC West. Donnie, everybody on that screen has at least won that division 2 consecutive years. Buffalo 5 times in a row in the AFC East. The Chiefs 9 seasons consecutively in the AFC West. But right before the break, you said there is a team in the AFC that you think might present some value or is maybe underpriced. Which team? Which division?
AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers, 7-1 price here. And I'm not a Mike Tomlin lover at the point where it's like he's going to win 13, 14 games and make a Super Bowl run. You're taking a look at price points and how effective they can be. A 7-1 price where the understanding is they're going to get a veteran quarterback in here, or they're going to draft a young, talented guy. Let's just say Shedeur Sanders falls down, they make a trade up to get him. That price point at 7-1, even with a rookie, I would buy into that. If they get Aaron Rodgers at 7-1 with that roster, I'm buying into that. And again, understand this. The tickets for the futures are meant to make money here. So if you're saying, Donnie, that's so stupid, the Steelers will never win it. Well, understand this, at a 7-1 price here to win the division, I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. I'm talking about 2 weeks to go in an NFL season where the Pittsburgh Steelers are right in it to win that division, where that ticket made sense and a payoff. Now, if they do go with, Russell Wilson comes back, no, I don't like that. But for me, I think the Steelers understand the magnitude here. They're not in a position where saying we're tearing it down. They signed DK Metcalf, brought him over in a trade. They have talent on defense and on offense. They're not looking to go with a bridge quarterback who they don't think can get them over the hump, which means playoffs and a playoff victory. And if I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and let's just say it's Aaron Rodgers at a 7-1 price point, the Bengals are ahead of them at plus 210. They were missed the playoffs last year with everybody they're signing right now. And the Baltimore Ravens love them. With Lamar Jackson, if he's healthy, they probably do win the division. I just think that price point for the Steelers at 7, not a Super Bowl, not an AFC championship, just a division at 7-1. No, that's too low. It's too low.
Yeah, DRS, listen, I don't think you're flawed in that line of thinking. 18 years for Mike Tomlin in the Steel City. Never a losing record, never fewer than 8 wins. And with very questionable quarterback play the last half decade, Pittsburgh has still been a playoff team 4 of those 5 seasons. Are they going to win the division? Probably not. Come December, are they going to be in the playoff hunt? Probably. regardless of who they play at the quarterback spot, it seems, based on nearly 20 years of a sample size for Pittsburgh. Donnie, I do want to focus on the AFC North. Of course, the Bengals, after the big-time signings and the new contract extensions for T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, there will be some thought since he is ready to go once again. They have paid their big-name players, not on the defensive side of the ball, but offensively. And if Joe Burrow is healthy and Jamar Chase is healthy and happy with his money and T. Higgins is healthy and happy with his money, since he should be a playoff team, would you bet the price on the Bengals? Would you look at the 18-1 number to win a Super Bowl plus 850 to win the AFC? Is there any price point you would be willing to back the Bengals at this time?
It's a tough division because the Ravens are going to be good, the Bengals are going to be good, and so are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, good is defined by, for me, over 500, which means you're not getting layups. You're like, I'll play them week 17 and they're a terrible team. Maybe the Browns might be that, but not the other teams. But for me, for the Bengals, I shoot higher. The 210 price to win the division doesn't do it for me. The one thing, you know what I do love is if they are healthy and make the playoffs at the end of the year, we're worried about their defense. We're never worried about the offense. So when you line up against the Cincinnati Bengals in a playoff game, Jamar Chase one side, T. Higgins on the other, Joe Burrow quarterback, you know you have a legitimate chance. They've won big football games. They've won big football games on the road in the playoffs. They've been to the Super Bowl and didn't embarrass themselves, and quite frankly, could have got a stop or two, would be world champions already with Joe Burrow. So for me, the 210, I don't want that. I want the AFC look, and I want the Super Bowl look here, because the upside on the Bengals, if they get it right, is really good, because how talented Joe Burrow and those two wide receivers are. And Al Golden coming in to change up the defense, maybe he can just hold the fort where it's like, look, can we just get a couple stops a game because the offense is going to handle our business? So for the Bengals, I don't want a plus 210. I'm shooting higher for them because I want the better price points, because once you get to the playoffs, that's a team that nobody's going to want to face if they do make it to the playoffs.
I believe each of the last 4 NFL seasons now, there has been multiple teams out of the AFC North, 3 of the 4 teams from the division 2 years ago, even with Joe Flacco as the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Last year, Buffalo, winning the AFC East for a 5th consecutive season, did not start off the year as the favorite. There was a lot of odds optimism for Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Now, DRS, the Bills really in command of that division. Doesn't seem to be many challengers. You gave your thoughts on the AFC West. I think you're getting a discounted number, although it's in minus money on Kansas City. 9 straight years winning this division. And now is the year somebody knocks them off the perch. I understand the Chargers and the Broncos won double-digit games a season ago, but let's not forget what Kansas City did last season. Sure, they will not be the reigning Super Bowl champs, but they will be the reigning AFC champions for a 3rd consecutive year and the reigning AFC West champions for a 9th consecutive season. Quickly in the AFC South, the Houston Texans winning the division, as was expected, for a 2nd straight year. But with the addition of Liam Cohen and hopefully a healthy Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, the Jags at a plus 240 number. I shared early in the offseason, Donnie, I was excited to see what the price was on the Jaguars out of Duval County. Do you believe there is any chance that Jacksonville gives the Texans a test for the top spot in the AFC South?
Oh, absolutely. And I like the Houston Texans as an organization, but they're going for a little bit of turmoil there on their offensive line, changing things up. C.J. Stroud also going to be getting a new play caller next year, as Bobby Slowick is not going to be back for the Texans. But understand this, too. In order to win the division, you do have to have some easier games. We're not calling the Colts and the Titans easier games, but plus 310, plus 650, take them off. So really, for me, it is a 2-team race between the Texans and the Jags. And are they so different between the talent combined on both sides? And I like what Liam Cohen's going to bring to the table. Maybe a rejuvenation here of Trevor Lawrence's career. They have weapons there. I don't mind the 240 price. You're not going to look at me like, hey, Donnie, Jags don't have a chance. Absolutely, Ben, they do.
I really do believe it will be a 2-team race in the AFC South this year. Let's talk about those NFC divisional prices up next. Divisional title prices in the AFC. Now we head over to the NFC. Here are the 4 divisional favorites around that conference early in the offseason entering 2025. The Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champs, a minus 170 price to win the NFC East. DRS last year, 3 of the 4 teams out of the NFC North reached the postseason. The Lions winning their 2nd consecutive divisional championship a year after winning their 1st divisional crown in 3 decades. The Buccaneers have won 4 straight in the NFC South, plus 150 favorites. And the 49ers, the 49ers with all the odds optimism always at a plus 125 number, the favorites around the NFC West. Of those four divisions, of those four favorites, which catches your eye the most?
I'll tell you, the one that catches my eye the most, to be honest, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being at plus 150, like not even a plus 100 or maybe like minus 120. Because you say, well, hey, the Bucs, no, they're bringing everybody back. They've been known to win that division. Take a look at the Falcons. You're probably going to be starting Michael Penix, who you're hoping can be your franchise guy and provide some pretty stable, play as a quarterback. Plus 195, okay. The New Orleans Saints, who do get Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. I like that move for them. Bring back Derek Carr, but at the same time, leaves a lot to be desired down there and how a couple of those seasons turned out. Then the Carolina Panthers, who are looking to take that next step, but the next step being like, okay, we're a competitive team in the division, not just the doormat here, which leads us again to the Bucs. Like, you can't predict in football. And we try to, separate what happens if Baker Mayfield goes down and Mike Evans gets older, he hurts himself, and you can't do that. On its face value, like the Buccaneers have the continuity that I like. At a plus 150 price, that really sticks out over everybody. Like, yes, the Lions, I do think, win that division. Plus 110, not all that enticing. The San Francisco 49ers, I told you, I don't want any piece of them. But even if you do think they're the most talented, plus 125. You take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, minus 170, with the Commanders making a lot of moves. And Dak Prescott back under center for the Dallas Cowboys. So of all the divisions right now, I look at the Bucs and say, that might be the best value on the board to win the division, Ben.
Donnie, I thought it was going to be closer to even money, if not slightly into minus money as well. The Buccaneers bring everybody back. They've made some very, I think, solid additions on the defensive side of the ball, and that's a lot of belief in the Atlanta Falcons, who even if Michael Penix Jr. is great, so doesn't necessarily mean they are going to win the NFC South at this stage. A plus 150 price on a Buccaneers team that in multiple iterations has won the NFC South for 4 consecutive years. I think it is a really good number. And of course, Philadelphia deserves to be a minus 170 favorite to win the NFC East. But Donnie, it should be shared. Not just the Commanders on the come up. We expect the Cowboys to be better than they were a year ago if Dak Prescott can remain fully healthy. But we have not seen a repeat divisional champ in the NFC East now for 2 decades. The last team to win back-to-back divisional crowns in the NFC East, the Eagles, who won 4 straight from 01 to 04. So yes, that is a very long-standing trend, despite how dominant the Eagles have been in the NFC.
Yeah, and it's an anomaly per se, right? Because it's like the coin flip. Like, hey, 16 straight times on tails. It has to come up. No, each and every entity and a new season should bring in. The Eagles are the favorite. They should go back-to-back. But it just goes to show you, sometimes in the NFL, you have a lot of competitive teams in the NFC East. And also you have some teams out there that are going to surprise. Maybe the Giants can have a decent season, 35-1, as I joke here, just to win the division, not even an NFC or an NFL championship. But the Commanders are really good, looking to take that next step. But I always look at the Dallas Cowboys at that plus 750 price, because when Dak plays in the regular season, he's a really good regular season quarterback. They have a lot of talent across the board. And if it is the NFL, as we say, the catastrophic injuries just take them away. Dallas is going to compete. Dallas usually splits with the Philadelphia Eagles, barring disaster at the quarterback position. They will be competitive this year. And by the way, if you haven't seen the Eagles' schedule coming into this year, as you know, when you're the best team in football, you get the hardest schedule. Their out-of-conference schedule, quote-unquote, or out-of-division schedule is ridiculously hard this year. So if the Eagles win, let's just say 12 games, that's a huge feat, which means somebody in that division is going to win 10 or 11 games and push the Eagles, even if they do win it. It's not a walk away for the Eagles. And you're right. Minus 170. Do I think the Eagles win the division? Yes. Am I betting it right now? Nope.
The odds makers are not fond of the Cowboys this offseason, and I would agree with that in premise. But the 5 years under Mike McCarthy, the 2 bookend seasons, year 1 under McCarthy and this previous season in 2024, Dak Prescott did not play a full year. The 3 years in between, Prescott did. The Cowboys won at least 12 games, or won exactly 12 games all 3 seasons in a divisional crown in 2 of those 3 years. The Niners as the favorites in the NFC West, we knew the odds would believe that. But the Rams at a plus 230 price is a very enticing number, and everybody in the competitive NFC North at a 5-1 number or shorter, separated by just less than $4 around that division.